Former news anchor Angie Mock has fatally stabbed her elderly mother in what she claims is self-defense. We'll get into that bizarre story, but first, Donna Adelson, convicted in the murder of her son-in-law, Dan Markle, has officially filed her appeal as she promised us that she would. SOT 4 is Donna at her sentencing hearing telling us all about it.
I've always respected the law. I've never gotten a parking ticket, but I'm going to prison for a murder I did not commit. I do intend to file an appeal so that hopefully I have the opportunity to be given a fair trial outside of Tallahassee.
Well, Dave, I know how much you follow this case. You knew the victim in the case, Professor Dan Markell. I guess you could say she has lots of respect for the law, except for the laws against murder in the state of Florida. This appeal, though, it seems to me, it's pro forma. This is what we expect. Is there anything unusual about this as far as you can see?
No, and she was right. She did not commit this murder. She helped pay for it. She helped plan it. She was the instigator, and there were hitmen who were hired by the family to do this. So she is a principal because of that, and she's going to prison for the rest of her life. Now, I don't see any reasonable grounds for her appeal. I think they're going to lean into the alleged bias of the judge, and you can see that they were taunting the judge during sentencing. The father, Harvey Adelson, even called the judge biased to his face, and the judge let it just roll like water over him. He did not take the bait. He did not jump down their throats. He didn't want to give any reason for the family to go to the appellate court. Said, see, here's what I'm talking about. So Judge Everett, kudos to you. This appeal is going nowhere, just like the appeal of her son, Charlie. Both of them are going to serve the rest of their lives in prison. Now the big question is whether the daughter, the ex-wife, Wendy, is next. I think she will be, although there is a difference of opinion about it.
Well, speaking of that, Mark, I want to get your take on it. But before I do, I want to talk about, well, there was discussion at one time about there possibly being a plea deal for Donna Adelson. The lawyers for both sides have come out and said, no, there is no such plea deal. But now, Mark, there's been there was a jailhouse snitch by the name of Drina Bernhardt. Okay. She testified at the trial. She recently went on Surviving the Survivor podcast, and she says that there was a potential plea deal on the table. Let's go ahead and roll SOT 5, and then we'll get Mark's take on the other side.
I don't know if the public was aware, but she was offered a 10-year plea, and the rest of, if she would have taken that 10 years, then the rest of the family wouldn't have been charged, and she didn't do it. So I mean,
this is absolutely fascinating what you just said. Donna was offered, I guess Tim Jansen was right about certain things that everyone's been beating them up for this whole time. So Donna told you she was offered a plea deal of 10 years.
mm-hmm.
And what would that consist of?
Then her family wouldn't be charged in return for that, but she didn't do it. And when I said, well, wow, that's huge, why not? Because I'm going to beat trial. So,
She really believed she was going to beat the system. She really thought she was going to get off.
Yes.
She told you that.
She did. Yes. I mean, she knew it. She just knew it. Yeah.
All right, Mark, that's Drina Bernhardt. She's an inmate recently released from the Leon County Jail. She was talking a lot, apparently, with Donna Adelson in the Leon County Jail. You heard her say right there was a plea deal, 10 years, plus they promised not to go after any additional family members. Does that make sense to you, Mark?
Well, this is what I know. I know that I asked this question to Dave Aronberg, and Dave Aronberg told me I was dead wrong. So I always believe when Dave tells me I'm dead wrong. Dave, didn't we discuss this? And I said, I heard, but although maybe I didn't have the 10 years. I asked you, I think, Was she offered time served and she turned it down and you said absolutely not? Is that
And,
right?
and by the way, that is what Joel Wallman of Surviving the Survivor, kudos to him. That's what he's referring to about Tim Jansen. Tim Jansen, who's a defense lawyer in Tallahassee, said what you just said, that Donna Adelson was offered time served, just give up Wendy, and she rejected it. And I said, no way. And so now what's coming out, it was sort of the opposite. You take 10 years and we'll let Wendy and Harvey go free, which I don't believe either. So I believe neither of these things.
So I will tell you what, I'll make a prediction how we'll find out. Well, the prediction is if Dave is right, and he almost always is, they will lose the appeal. Once they lose the what's called the direct appeal, they will do a writ of habeas corpus. They will allege in the habeas corpus, being a defense lawyer, I know this well, that the defense lawyer was ineffective assistance of counsel. By the way, there are a lot of people who might jump in and argue that right now, or they were arguing it during the trial itself. I'll just leave it there. Even though that was a former judge, if I'm not mistaken, Dave can correct me, who was the defense lawyer, right?
Well, yeah, she resigned from the bench under a cloud of controversy, but yes.
Okay. And then during that writ of habeas corpus, where there will be an allegation of IAC, that is when they would put forward, I was offered this, or there was an offer. It either wasn't communicated accurately, it was communicated inaccurately. The prosecutor will then have to turn over their file. The file will have exactly whether or not there was an authorized offer that was made, even if it was an offer, and Dave can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never met a prosecutor in a high profile case who's willy-nilly making offers that he hasn't run or she hasn't run up the proverbial flagpole, and that will put the end to this discussion.
I personally, y'all didn't ask me, but my take is I don't believe her. I don't believe, maybe she's not lying. Maybe she's just simply mistaken. Maybe she was duped by Donna Adelson, who I believe to be just a liar, just out and out liar. I don't think you can believe a word that comes out of her mouth. So that would include things that she may say to her fellow inmates in jail. Maybe she was just saying, look, I would agree to plead guilty, and I'd even take 10 years if they would just take Wendy out of the equation, or maybe even her husband. Some people are saying that he might be at some type of jeopardy here as an accessory after the fact. But I think that if that plea offer was in fact made, that I'm sure it looks very, very good to her now in the rear view mirror. But time will tell. The lawyers for both sides have said that there was no such plea deal. I think it's going to be an interesting footnote in this case, but maybe when the appeals come out, the lawyers involved in that appeal, the second round of it, probably, as you mentioned, Mark, they will dig deeper into that and they'll discuss what types of plea negotiations, if any, were relayed to the client.